guys, welcome back. I know it's been a minute between videos as per usual. Things have just been getting in the way, priorities, and I really need to get around to doing another video. Haven't done much since we last raced the VL, and as you can see, the engine is out with rain. So we head across to Victoria and raced. We ran a PB. We'll post some footage up of that, and we'll get into the nitty gritty as to why the engine is out of the VL.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad. After her there ain't no coming back. Wanna take a run at that? I think she's feeling me. Turn it up a few degrees. My imagination of her body gets the best of me. Oh gosh, she's such a tease. Bitten lips, bruised knees. I'm addicted to her, need her touching me. Cause she got a bad little waist, and we tearing down this place. Off the liquor that we chase. Got some need. Oh gosh, she's such a tease. I'm addicted to her, need her touching me. Cause she got a bad little waist, and we tearing down this place. Baby, I don't need no space. Coming closer for a taste, and I'll show you how I make everything.
That was a pass. That was a pass.
water.
Yeah, it looks like water, yeah.
Push the grease plug out the back of the head, I think. Fuck off. Welsh plug.
Welsh plug?
Yeah.
Okay.
The back of the head, I reckon, mate.
Thank you very much, mate.
Just got the cover off, checking for any issues. Thought I could put a torch down the back of the head and see if I can see how much this Welsh plug had moved on the plate that I'd put in. Check this out. That's probably my water leak. Wow. I've whacked the engine in here and it's turned into an engine room. There's crap everywhere, it's kind of unorganized. I've pulled the bearings out, well I've checked most of the bearings on all the small ends, like the conrod ends and the main bearings, and man, I'm surprised, like this thing is still mint. So a couple of the main bearings were a little bit worn, enough for me not to want to put them back in the way they were. So for the sake of, I think it was like 140 bucks, I did get some new mains. I bought conrod bearings while I was there in case as I went further along they got worse, but they were good. So massive relief with that. I've pulled all them out, I remeasured all of them just with a plastic gauge to check what they were before and after, took some measurements, and all was sweet. So we'll take a look at that and I'll show you some of the bearings. So these were all the mains, and mainly the one I was worried about was the thrust bearing, due to obviously that converter issue that I had before. I'm thinking, yeah, this converter has probably pushed onto the crank quite a bit and damaged either side of the thrust, but the back side was mint and the front side. Like, if you've seen a thrust bearing and you know what they're like in an LS, like they're pretty prone to damage, and this is still mint. So a credit to Jamie and Paul at Keys Transmissions for the help with getting my gearbox sorted from day dot. With the pressures were way too high initially when it was a standard bottom end deal, and I did do lots of damage. Like I ended up cracking every main cap in the block because the pressures were too high in the trends. So this is number one cap. Quite good, a little bit of pitting, nothing serious. Like the wear is, you can see where I had the plastic gauge here, but all of them pretty good. A little bit of wear on that one. I mean, nothing crazy for me to go, wow, that's ruined. This was number 4. Even that, like, there was never any bearing material in the oil, like, to be worried about. And obviously this is number 5. You can't even feel that on your finger. Like, you can see it by the eye, but you can just feel it with your nail. So I was happy with that. While I was there, I got some conrod bearings, but I whacked, yeah, they're still standard size, put them back in, and yeah, all measured up sweet. Of course, in standard fashion, I assumed that I was going to be probably putting the engine back together the way it was, maybe with some improvements. So obviously I'm running out of fuel with that fuel pump that I had, so I'll do the Woolbros. But while I was there, the camshaft that was always in this engine wasn't really, I mean, ideal for a 5.3. Like, it was an off-the-shelf, it was a VCM 16, not the 16T, which is just like a reverse split duration. It wasn't really designed for the 5.3 with these heads and the turbo. So I'm gonna whip that cam out. I was gonna get a custom one made, but everything is taking a while at the moment. Like, I don't know if it's just me, but everyone's struggling. Like, if you want to get engine parts, make sure you've got like a few weeks in advance, because these LSs, like, everyone says that they're cheap and they're easy to build. So I ended up finding a camshaft off the shelf, a BTR unit. I'm gonna whack that in. It's a BTR stage 4. A lot better suited for what I'm doing with this 5.3. Yes, it's a 5.3, so you can obviously see now, well, you can't tell. It's got little pistons, still mint. While I'm doing the camshaft, I'm also going to replace all the lifters. I use GM LS7 lifters. They work and they're cheap enough and they're a genuine item, so I know that they're going to work. They're not Chinese. While we're there, I'm going to change the timing chain. It's not stuffed, but it is a little bit, it is loose. For that to break after putting it all back together would make a mess. So another thing that I did, I've gone ahead and I've ordered new cylinder heads. So just speaking with Jeff, who helps me do the tuning on this car and the engine, I've gone ahead and ordered some trick flows. So I've sold my old heads. There was nothing wrong with them. I did have them repaired previously, maybe a year ago, after they were ported pretty thin, trying to make obviously good flow figures with them heads, and they ended up leaking water. So I had them welded and repaired. This still had standard retainers and everything, just with a spring upgrade before. So I'm going to start. It needs to be revved, obviously a little bit harder being a smaller capacity engine. You do have to rev them to get them working. So I'm just waiting on them heads now. I've ordered them through the George at Race Max Direct in Sydney. He's looked after me with them. So that was an 8 weeks wait, and that was about 6 weeks ago. So they should be turning up in the next couple of weeks. We'll get them on. I've got head gaskets. I've got new sump gasket, valley gasket, shit like that. So once I've got the heads, I can bang it all back together because I've got my timing chain, the cams here. And yeah, a matter of time until it's back together. And I was going to paint the engine bay. We'll see how far we get. So been pretty busy out in the shed every night the last few weeks, doing some painting, prepping the engine bay, cleaning it up a bit. As you can see, I've deleted the brake booster. That created a bit of mess, so I've cut the studs off that were on the side of the strut tower just here. Sanded them back, a little bit of filler, painted that and blended that in around the strut tower. Come out fine, a couple of chips here and there, but haven't painted the whole thing, it's just too much to do. I've also deleted the factory overflow bottle. I'm going to put that down beside the radiator. I've put the bent some brake lines up and tried to hide them best as possible for now. Put them on the opposite side. Obviously went to a wheelwood master as well, so that once the engine's back in, I'm putting the coils and the covers in, and it should have enough room and just obviously some weight as well. So yeah, just finished degreasing it outside and a quick wash to get rid of all the lolly water and shit off of the K-frame. Might give that a quick paint of satin black, and painted this side also. It was pretty cooked from the manifolds. As you can see, yes, that hole's pretty big. The hole down the bottom is from a cooler pipe when it was RB30. It does take up most of that hole, the turbo, once it's in. You can hardly tell, but obviously this engine bay needs to have a big going over one day. Just don't have enough time at the moment. It'll look nice and presentable, at least for drag challenge. I don't even know why I bother, but nice and presentable for now until when I can finally get around to doing the whole engine bay. I've given it a quick cut and polish with a little buff. It's clean enough. And then yeah, just got the heads off getting faced. They should be done Friday. I'll get them back, whack them back on the engine, and put the engine back in the car, along with a few other things to do too. So got the heads all assembled, all new valve springs on from BTR. Got the heads all torqued up. Also measured up for the push rods with my push rod checker, which I made last night. Just got an old push rod, cut it in half. Well, not exactly in half, but towards the end so I can still get to a spanner. And obviously take the material off with the width of those two nuts put together. Give you the standard length once it's all the way tight, and then you can go longer if needed or down to factory. But ended up putting 7 450s in it, which I ended up having. Preload's all done, just finished up doing the valley plate, put all new bolts in that, and yeah, torqued up nice, everything going sweet. Get the manifold on before the end of the night and call it a night, I reckon. Just got the intake back on, buttoned up, all sweet. I thought while it's up here in the air, off the ground, I'll get the fuel injectors. So I've just had them all cleaned and serviced by Matt at ProFlow Injector Services over in Perth. Super fast turnaround. He's numbered them all as well. Obviously gives you a report as well, which is nice, before and after they've been cleaned. I haven't had them done in probably 2 years, so it's good to get them done. E85's harsh on fuel systems, so keep on top of that is nice. And even just a bag of spare O-rings as well for them, because you never know when you might need an injector O-ring. So top and bottom's all replaced, brand new O-rings, cleaned, ready to go. So we'll whack them in, get them done, and then that job's done. Injectors all back in. Also, due to the fuel system changes, I've changed the feed on the back of the fuel rail to a 10 as well, as it was an 8, keeping the return an 8 and making the feed 10 all the way from the pump. That's all cleaned up nice. Time to put some valve covers on it, and along with putting the valve cover, or the coils back on the covers, sorry, picked up some of these beautiful CNC machined anodized black valve covers by Next Gen by Aaron Tremaine up in Queensland. Beautiful bit of gear. Just keep it looking nice and fresh in the engine bay. Just couldn't come to putting some standard covers on it. I guess a bit OCD, so what's some billet covers gonna do? But you know, nice bit of bling, can't go wrong. We'll get them on and we'll see how it looks. All back together with the valve covers on. Looks pretty good, if I'm being a bit modest. Hopefully maybe tomorrow the engine can go from here to over there in the car.